This continues section 2.6 with order of operations. We're on example 51, part F. So the first thing that we see here is that we have a numerator and a denominator again, which remember that's the same as having some grouping symbols. So we're going to do the numerator and then we'll work down and do the denominator. So first off we have 6 minus 2, which is 4. But that is the absolute value of that. So I need to see the two steps in this. The absolute value of 4 is 4, and then 4 plus 3, which gives us 7. I do need to see both of those steps, please. And then in the denominator, again, don't just rush into it and go left to right, but actually doing order of operations, multiply 2 times 5 first, and then add the 8 in, which makes it 7 over 18. And that is just a fraction, so we're going to leave it there. Now, instead of doing 52 right this instant, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump ahead and I'm going to do example number, I believe it's 53, and we're going to do an evaluation problem here to show our order of operations coming into evaluation. So in this problem we have a squared plus b squared, and we see that a is equal to a 2, so that looks like 2 squared, plus, and then we see b, and that's being squared, and that's a negative 3. So you see how the parentheses for the value and that parentheses then having the exponent outside of it's really super important now with those integers. So we have 2 squared, which means that's 2 times 2. So we have 4 plus, and then we have negative 3 times a negative 3. If we hadn't put those parentheses in to mean the variable's value going in there and getting squared, we may have gotten that negative 3 being squared incorrect. So negative 3 times a 3 is a positive 9, and then 4 plus 9, which gives us 13. And that'll be our final answer. Now part B here, we have the opposite of whatever A is getting squared. And A is 2, so we'll put that in there, and then plus whatever B is, and then we have this one being 2 squared, which is 2 times 2, which gives us 4, but it said the opposite of 4, so this gives us a negative 4 plus a negative 3. And of course we know that when we have two of the same signs and we're adding, we're going to add the numbers up, 4 plus 3, and then we'll keep the common sign, which is negative. So we'll get a negative 7 as an answer here. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue on with example number 52. And example number 52, the first thing that I want us to see in part A here is that this is not the distributive property. You don't want to take this 3 and distribute it over here. If you are thinking of doing that, that is not the correct way to do an order of operations problem. We want to do what's inside these parentheses. 8 minus 2, or 8 minus 6 is 2. So now we have 2 minus 3 times 2. And then we do the multiplication. 3 times 2 is 6. And then we have 2 plus the opposite of 6, which is a negative 6. And of course those are opposites, so we're going to do the 6 minus the 2, and we're going to keep the sign of the larger, which is a negative. So we have a negative 4 as our final answer. The next one, we have an absolute value. So the absolute value is a parenthesis. It's a special parenthesis, so we do its meaning. And then plus, and then we have exponents there, so I'll skip it for a second. And we have a negative 3 plus a negative 8. And of course we know when they're like signs, we're going to add them up, and we're going to keep the sign of the as alike. So this is going to be a negative 11 over here. And then, of course, we have a negative 6 squared, which means a negative 6 times a negative 6. And a negative times a negative is a positive, and it's a positive 36. And then we have just addition across here, so 2 plus 36, which gives us a 38, and then plus a negative 11, so we have the opposite signs, so we're going to subtract those, 38 minus 11, and then of course it's going to be a positive when we're done with that. So we have 38 minus 11, which is 27, and it's positive 27. So there we go. And the rest of the problems I think you should do on your own and then watch the next video to get the answers.